Dexter ran for 8 seasons, 96 episodes, and made an entire generation of viewers root for a serial killer who worked in a police department and somehow never got caught by anyone who sat within 10 feet of him every single day. The show put Showtime on the map, launched before Walter White or Don Draper existed, and proved you could build prestige television around a guy who dismembers people in a room covered in plastic sheeting. And behind the scenes, somehow even messier than the kill rooms. The lead actor secretly married his on-screen sister, then divorced her, then had to kiss her on camera months later. He hid a cancer diagnosis from his own castmates, and the original showrunner had a finale plan that would have been one of the greatest endings in television history, except he left, and they went with a lumberjack. These are 15 things about Dexter you probably had no idea about. Number 15. The fake blood on Dexter was made from maple syrup, food coloring, peppermint oil, and Dawn dish soap. Not corn syrup like you might expect. Maple syrup has the right thickness, and it is apparently much easier to clean off surfaces and skin between takes. The food coloring is obvious. The Dawn dish soap helps it spread evenly. The peppermint oil was specifically added to keep flying insects from swarming the set. If you coat a room in sweet syrup under California studio lights, every wasp and bee in a 5-mile radius will show up uninvited. The prop team figured that out the hard way before they added the peppermint. Number 14. Michael C. Hall once crashed the Slice of Life, the boat Dexter uses to dump body parts in the ocean off the coast of Miami, directly into a pier during filming. It caused about $8,000 in damage. The production covered the repairs, and Hall did not have to pay a dime. But somewhere in the outtakes vault, there is footage of a serial killer's body disposal vessel just slamming into a dock, while the guy who plays him presumably makes the exact face you are imagining right now. Number 13. For a particularly gruesome crime scene in Season 5 where Deborah discovers 2 decomposed bodies, prop master Joshua Meltzer ordered 20,000 real maggots from an animal trainer. Not fake maggots, not CGI maggots. 20,000 living, squirming, actual maggots were delivered to a Hollywood soundstage. And here's the best part, it was not enough. The swarm did not look dense enough on camera, so Meltzer sprinkled brown rice over the fake corpses to make it look like there were even more maggots than there actually were. He called a phone number and said, "I need 20,000 maggots." When they arrived, he looked at them and said, "Not enough." He later said, anytime a prop master can pick up a phone and call an animal trainer and say, "I need 20,000 maggots, that is a good day." He meant it. Number 12. When Fox was preparing to launch Dexter in the United Kingdom, someone in their marketing department had what they apparently considered a brilliant idea. They sent unsolicited text messages to random people's mobile phones. The texts were addressed to the recipient by name and were signed by Dexter. No context, no explanation. Just a message from a fictional serial killer showing up on your phone out of nowhere. When people started filing complaints about receiving what they thought was spam or a threat, Fox issued a statement claiming that the texts were sent by the recipient's own friends as part of a viral campaign. The backlash was immediate. People did not appreciate a serial killer sliding into their text messages uninvited. The whole thing arguably generated more publicity from the controversy than it ever would have from the campaign itself, which honestly might have been the point. During the production of Season 5, Michael C. Hall was battling Hodgkin's lymphoma. He made the diagnosis public in January 2010, but he had been undergoing treatment while filming. Here is the part that gets people. He kept it a secret from most of his fellow cast members during production. They had no idea until he announced it publicly. Because chemotherapy caused him to lose his hair, he wore a wig for the first 5 episodes of that season. If you go back and watch those episodes knowing this, you will notice it and it will hit differently. Number 10. Michael C. Hall and Jennifer Carpenter, who played adopted siblings Dexter and Deborah Morgan on screen, got married in real life on New Year's Eve, 2008. They had been dating secretly since around 2007, and the public did not find out until they showed up together at the Golden Globes in January 2009. The marriage lasted about 2 years before they separated in the summer of 2010, with the divorce finalized in December 2011. So they dated, married, and divorced each other while playing brother and sister on the same show for the entire run. And then after the divorce was finalized, the writers decided that season 6 would include a plotline where Deborah develops romantic feelings for Dexter. That meant Jennifer Carpenter had to film a kiss scene with the man she had just divorced, playing the adopted sister of the character he played on a show called Dexter. Fans hated the storyline. You can only imagine how the actors felt about it. Number 9. Rita's death at the end of season 4 is one of the most shocking moments in television history. The production team went to extreme lengths to keep it secret. Julie Benz, who played Rita, found out her character was going to die just a few days before filming. She did not learn how Rita would die until 1 hour before she received the final script. No one on set was told the details. The scene was the absolute last thing filmed that season, specifically so fewer crew members would be present. Even the way she was found, in a bathtub full of blood with her infant son sitting on the floor, was kept from the crew until the cameras rolled. Benz handled it with dark humor. She brought a styrofoam tombstone to set and floated it in the bathtub while she lay in the fake blood. Sometimes that is the only way to process something that bleak. Number 8. In season 6, Edward James Olmos played Professor Geller, a religious studies professor who appears to be mentoring the doomsday killer Travis Marshall. But Geller was dead the entire time. He was a hallucination, the same way Harry Morgan appeared to Dexter throughout the series. Here is the wild part. Olmos was the only person on the entire production who knew the twist. The directors did not know, and the other actors in his scenes did not know either. When directors set up a shot in a way that would not make sense if Geller was a delusion, Olmos had to gently nudge them into filming it differently without explaining why. He was essentially directing his own secret subplot from inside the performance, and nobody around him understood what he was doing until the reveal aired. That is a genuinely insane level of commitment to a twist. Number 7. The plastic wrap that Dexter uses to restrain his victims on the kill table was originally designed as a full-body cocoon that covered almost everything. The problem was that it genuinely restricted the actor's ability to breathe. The prop team realized pretty quickly that this was a safety hazard and redesigned the wrap into separate sections that covered the head, torso, hips, and feet with gaps in between for airflow. Also, the actors under the plastic were wearing nothing but a skin-toned G-string. The lighting and camera angles did the rest. They had to lie there mostly naked, wrapped in plastic, unable to move or get up on their own for hours at a time while the crew filmed around them. Being a guest star on Dexter was not a comfortable experience. Number 6. The Trinity Killer, played by John Lithgow in season 4, was loosely based on the real serial killer Dennis Rader, known as the BTK Killer. Producers confirmed it. Both men hid behind a facade of suburban normalcy for decades. Rader was a church president, a Boy Scout leader, and a compliance officer in Park City, Kansas, while murdering 10 people over 30 years. The Trinity Killer was a respected family man and community pillar, while maintaining a cycle of ritualistic murders. Lithgow won a guest Emmy for the performance, and season 4 is still widely considered the best season of the entire show. Basing the villain on one of the most disturbingly normal-looking serial killers in American history proved to be a very effective creative decision. Number 5. Multiple real-world criminals have cited Dexter as direct inspiration for their actions. In 2009, a 17-year-old in Indiana named Andrew Conley strangled his 10-year-old brother and told police he felt just like Dexter while doing it. In Edmonton, Canada, a man named Mark Twitchell was convicted of first-degree murder after luring a victim through a fake online dating profile and killing him in a garage he had set up to look like a kill room from the show. In England, a 17-year-old was sentenced to 25 years after stabbing and dismembering his girlfriend, with investigators drawing direct parallels to the series. These are not urban legends. These are court records. The show that made a serial killer sympathetic apparently made him a little too sympathetic for some people. Number 4. In the late 2000s and the early 2010s, the name Dexter experienced a significant spike as a baby name. Parents were naming their children after the main character of a television show about a serial killer. The character was handsome, charismatic, and technically only killed people who deserved it, so the name came to be seen as dark but cool, which is a fascinating thing to explain to your kid when they eventually Google where their name came from and discover it was a guy who wrapped people in plastic and stabbed them in the chest. Number 3. Dexter holds the record for the most rented DVD box set in the history of Netflix. Back when Netflix was still a DVD by mail service, Dexter was the title people rented more than anything else. The show helped put Showtime on the map as a destination for original programming and proved that a cable network that was not HBO could produce a critically acclaimed flagship series. Without Dexter's success, the landscape of premium cable television in the late 2000s looks very different. Number 2. The original showrunner, Clyde Phillips, who ran the show for its first 4 seasons and then left after Rita's death at the end of season 4, had an entirely different ending planned for the series. In his version, the final scene opens on Dexter waking up. The audience assumes it is a dream sequence. Then the camera slowly pulls back to reveal that Dexter is lying on an execution table at the Florida State Penitentiary. The drugs are being administered. He looks through the observation gallery window and sees every person he has ever killed sitting there, watching him die. The Trinity Killer, the Ice Truck Killer, Rita, Dokes, Lagerta, Lila, and every weekly victim from 8 seasons. All of them watching. The idea was that the entire series, everything we watched, had taken place in the few seconds between the drugs entering his system and his death, his life flashing before his eyes. Phillips said the concept was inspired by the Ambrose Bierce short story An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge. Instead, the show went with Dexter faking his death and becoming a lumberjack in Oregon. That is a real sentence about a real television show that real human beings wrote, filmed, and aired on purpose. Number 1. Michael C. Hall, the man who played Dexter Morgan for 8 seasons and 2 revival series, has publicly admitted that he never actually watched the series finale. In a later interview, he said he thought the show had lost a certain amount of torque in its later years, which is the most diplomatically devastating way anyone has ever said that it got bad. The finale is widely considered one of the worst in television history, and Hall essentially confirmed that even he knew it. The entire reason Dexter New Blood exists is that so many fans hated that ending. Showtime greenlit an entirely new limited series just to give the character a different death. They did that, and people were still mad about it. Some shows just cannot stick the landing, and Dexter tried 3 times. If you sat through all 15 of those and you are now looking at your Showtime subscription like maybe it is time for a rewatch, yeah, that tracks. Every terrible decision this show made is somehow more entertaining when you know the chaos that was happening behind the cameras. If you're finding this kind of content useful, hit subscribe. I cover deep dives like this every week, and if you want another one right now, that video is right here.